There's plenty of doom and gloom surrounding the state's economy, from a budget black hole to the pullout by New Zealander Richard Chandler from investing in timber company guns. Another white knight from out of the state is confident of Tasmania's potential and has put his money where his mouth is. The investment banker who turned around salmon producer Tassal has paid $10 million for water rights in the Midlands, even though he doesn't own any land there yet, and the schemes are yet to be constructed. Investment banker David Williams took a flying trip to Tasmania this week to meet others who have bought water rights for the Midlands irrigation schemes.
And you got a rotary milker, or what do you
Yes, 54 barrel.
It's for some of the larger farmers in the area to meet me and vice versa, and I expect they're going to want to know what I'm really up to.
The difference between David Williams and the other water rights holders is he is not a farmer and he's got no land.
You need some high security water.
You do, yeah, that's right.
Mr Williams has bought 10,000 megalitres of water per year. That's enough to irrigate 2,500 hectares.
No, I haven't purchased any land yet, but I'm looking, and that's part of the exercise today as well. And just done a bit coming down here actually, and it's some pretty impressive opportunities, I think. No, I think the logistics are fantastic.
Yeah.
It's not the first foray into Tasmania for the Victorian. You've got a lot of confidence, it would seem, in Tasmania. I mean, where did that confidence begin? Did that begin with your turning around of Tassal, or what?
Yeah, well, that was certainly important. I mean, as you know, I bought Tassal out of receivership for $40 million and floated it, and it's now worth maybe 300. So it's a big success, I think, for Tasmania.
When no one was interested, he bought in at the bottom. He thinks the same will happen with water.
What I've done with the water purchases, I think, is counter-cyclical in the same way as it was counter-cyclical when I bought Tassal. Nobody wanted to know about it, and now everybody wants to know about it.
Property owners were the first to be offered water in the schemes, but not enough was sold for the largest Midlands scheme to go ahead. It was Mr Williams' purchase of the remaining water rights that got it over the line.
There was still a shortfall between what we'd sold and what the minimum requirement was to start the scheme. And we've been very grateful that he has purchased the water.
It will significantly increase irrigation of farms from just south of Launceston to just north of Hobart.
The water that's supplying the Midland schemes comes from Martha's Lake and runs down off the tier into a mini hydro station. Power generated from the mini hydro helps offset the cost of the water to farmers. The water then goes through a very small holding dam at the base of the mini hydro and then goes north through a system of pipes into the Isis and then into the Macquarie River, and then heads south again through a series of pipes and natural waterways down almost as far as Kempton.
Chris Oldfield says there'll be no environmental impacts.
The water we're taking out of Arthurs does not affect the level of water in Arthurs over and above what's being impacted by the hydro now. We simply take that water, and the price we pay for that water enables the hydro to purchase electricity through Basslink if needed.
The smaller South Esk scheme will have a dam on land recently purchased by Tasmanian Irrigation. It will store water captured from the river during winter and flood flows that will then be released in the drier months. He says all approvals have been achieved for the South Esk scheme, with construction due to begin within weeks. Mr Oldfield says the larger scheme has a couple of smaller hurdles yet to be ticked off.
We don't see any roadblocks to this project proceeding at this stage, and we're very hopeful it'll start by June.
The two developments combined are the largest in the state government's food bowl vision. There are 3 irrigation projects already built. Winnalea is due to be completed within weeks. In addition to the Midlands schemes, 4 more are scheduled to go to water sales this year, and 3 are still in pre-feasibility stages. Tasmanian Irrigation, which became a state-owned company last year, has also inherited the Meander and Coal Valley schemes. Mr Williams hinted at further purchases.
You know, I may not stop there. I mean, I think there's other interesting opportunities in some of the other irrigation schemes coming up, and the first right of refusal goes to the farmers, of course, but if they don't see the benefit of it, then, you know, I may well be prepared to step into that breach.
Instead of buying back water rights, he believes the rest of Australia could learn from the investment in water infrastructure in Tasmania.
You know, I would be saying to my Premier in Victoria and others, you know, get your ass down here and have a look what's happening, because there's some things that should be replicated in the rest of Australia here.
But Mr Williams believes there'll be different crops and new ways of farming in Tasmania. He reckons there'll be more of what Bill Chilvers is doing on his farm near Symonds Plains.
That was very impressive, not so much just because it's conversion from lambs to dairy, but it's more impressive because it's a really confederation of people with like-minded interests. So he's contributed land and done a share farming arrangement with a guy who's contributed dairy experience and cows and so forth. And I think we're going to see a lot more of that, where there'll be, you know, multiple equity partners in joint projects.
The decision to go into dairy was a big one for Bill Chilvers on land better known as sheep country.
Yeah, most definitely. Dairying's a new thing. Before that, we went through a decade of peas and poppies and some irrigated cereals. And prior to that was really just dryland sheep and cattle country.
With over $1 million on infrastructure for the new dairy, which only opened a few months ago, it's a long-term investment.
The decision for me certainly wasn't the right one.
It's also boosted employment on farm.
Yeah, this area probably employed about one person, the irrigated area, and now that we've converted to dairy, it's employing 4 full-time, and through calving and busier times, 6 people.
Was it the knowledge that the irrigation schemes were coming online that gave you the confidence to go ahead with the dairy?
Yeah, it certainly helped.
Although Mr Chilvers has on-farm storage, what the irrigation schemes guarantee is year-round supply.
Sometimes it doesn't rain, sometimes there's insufficient water in the rivers. What Tasmanian Irrigation is doing through our schemes is offering water with 95% reliability. That reliability equals confidence, and it allows that farmer therefore to go into long-term contracts to grow poppies, to grow cereal crops, to grow the sort of things that will guarantee an income that they currently haven't got.
Mr Williams has significant rights in both schemes, and while he'll probably trade, doesn't see himself as becoming a water baron.
No, not at all. I mean, I imagine that some people are going to come to me over the next 2 or 3 years before I've even exhausted what I want to do with it and say, look, you've got the water, or I've got the idea, why don't we join forces? And, you know, for me it's a white sheet of paper. I'm completely open to those opportunities.
He believes some farmers may leave the land or they'll become more imaginative.
We're going to see a lot of crops that aren't here at the moment, and they'll be high intensity, I think, horticultural crops. They might be lettuces, they might be carrots, they might be berries of various sorts.
He's exploring hazelnuts, but believes there is a future for more dairy.
This is the only place in Australia that dairy is expanding, and that's a fantastic opportunity, in my opinion, for the state. And I think I can only see prices, you know, increasing in the medium term. So that's good news, and it's good news for dairy conversions.
He sees equivalents to the now widely lauded Coal Valley irrigation project, which turned the South East Valley from a dust bowl to wine and crop haven.
I think the potential is here to be another Coal Valley, but I think we're probably not going to see that level of intensity, because I just don't think the water's going to go that far, as it were. So that there'll be still plenty of room for lambing, of course.